what do you think are the biggest bottlenecks that may have hindrances on any project that is being executed?
The biggest thing once you enter into a road business and then you win a project is, I would say, is the easier job. Then the difficult job is when you start executing it, and one of the biggest thing is the raw material element.
How much do you think DPRs are useful for a contract?
Really speaking, you're doing a 100 kilometer project, you need good 5-6 months for doing
Yes.
a real DPR. If you're doing in 1 month, 1.5 months, you just and the rates you get, कहते हैं जो जितना गुड़ डालोगे उतना ही मीठा होगा. So that is what it is all about.
Yes. Do you think that infrastructure, this big massive infrastructure development will create a harm to the environment, or how a balance should be there?
In the bargain of losing some trees and something, at least you are able to reach there. They have a school facility there. Now they have a hospital there. The doctors are reaching there. So this is the bargain.
What are the key leadership lessons that you have learned along the way, and what did it take for you to reach this level?
This is something like how much persistent you are with what you want. Everybody is not born with silver spoon. So mostly you'll have to work hard for it. Whatever you do and whatever resources you have, you start with.
What insights can you give about the development that is happening and what the younger generation can see for the future where Vikasit Bharat 2047 dreams are being laid in front of them? When we drive on a highway, catch a flight from a modern airport, or experience seamless connectivity across cities, we rarely pause to think about the minds and decisions that made it possible. Behind every kilometer of road and every major infrastructure milestone lies decades of vision, leadership, and relentless execution. Today on the Infra Dialogues, we are joined by a leader who has spent nearly 4 decades not just witnessing but actively shaping India's infrastructure journey. It is a true honor to welcome Dr. Sudhir Rao Hoshing, a distinguished infrastructure specialist with over 4 decades of experience spanning highways, airports, and transport infrastructure. Currently serving as the whole-time director at Seagull India Limited and as an independent director across multiple infra organizations, he continues to guide large-scale projects while shaping industry innovation at the highest levels. So, sir, it's an honor to have you, and you bring a rare perspective. You have seen it from the boardroom level also, and from a site execution level also. So, we first want to understand what triggers these key infrastructure decisions and who are the key voices behind those decisions.
So any infrastructure when we talk about, so let me take you a bit back.
Yes.
It doesn't start from the day we think the project started. We started when there was really a time, when we had nothing, when you were traveling on a road and it takes long and long hours. I have been traveling those days also, where it used to take days to go from Mumbai to Delhi. It was a big thing to do that. In fact, I traveled on those times. But then we thought that there's a requirement of having at least 2 to 4 lane. We have seen Surat to Dahisar road in a 2 lane road,
Yes.
which
Yes.
which became 4 lane and 6 lane. Of course, it requires, as the traffic keep on increasing, the accidents they keep on increasing, and then when you have the traffic which doesn't collide with each other, there on one-way traffic comes, then you actually try to save a lot of accidents. I think the accident which were one of the things which prompted India to go into 4 lanes of major national highways.
Yeah.
As you know, we started with GQ and the north and south
Yes.
corridor,
Yes.
which is the real prompt, when it started somewhere in 1996 or 7.
Yes.
And then after, there is no looking back on the Indian highways and infrastructure works. So these are the things which required the nation thought that this is what it is required. There was a time when there was a lot of discussion which used to happen on whether India can spend that much amount of money on highways or not. But today we think that the spending was real and it was really helped the entire nation.
It
and
was
you,
much needed. Yeah.
much needed, and that is how this decision came. And going forward, of course, you keep on improving that, and once you have the entire network built, then you will have the time when you will think about the maintenance of those roads for a longer time.
There is one more aspect to it, is the population rate also that has increased, because the traffic projections that were made earlier, like you said, in the 90s, no one anticipated that the population or the traffic on the roads is going to go that high. So how do you think decisions should be taken when population is growing at such a major level?
Of course, the cities have grown much faster than it was thought about.
Yes.
And that's why the planning has not gone in that direction. And that's why we are constrained. And it's not only about the population growth, it's also about the wealth growth, which has happened in last few years. We were not we are very mediocre type of a country earlier. Now you see most of the people, they have a lot of income which they can which they can use for their luxury things. Now you see number of cars per person per 1,000 person have increased here. Earlier it used to be 1.5, which would have raised to now 12 or 13 now, which is like improving. And that's why number of vehicles which starts coming more and more onto the roads, that and the mere population of India is so high, and that's why the per 1,000 so many cars are more than any of other car nations. Total number of cars will be more here, and that is why it's not able to take that much of it was never thought about that it will come so faster. And that is why we lack that planning, and that is now we are thinking about alternate modes. We are thinking about the highway, elevated highways, or elevated
vertical
structures.
Expansion is happening.
Vertical expansion is the only thing which is possible. So you cannot have it the widening. You cannot keep on widening, or you have to have the alternate road, like coastal road in Mumbai, or like the Eastern Expressway, or the Eastern Corridor. All those roads will help. So only widening is not going to help. So either you have to go vertical or you have to find alternate roads.
So while we are talking about this major, massive infrastructure development that is happening around the country, what do you think are the biggest bottlenecks that may have hindrances on any project that is being executed?
Let me tell you one thing. The biggest thing, once you enter into a road business and then you win a project, is, I would say, is the easier job. Then the difficult job is to when you start executing it, and then once you reach to the site, now they said 80% of the land is acquired, and then you enter, but then you really see the utility shiftings being there. You'll find a gas pipeline which no one knows about. Suddenly that has to be shifted. And one of the biggest thing is the raw material availability. So you cannot be getting your earthwork from 50 kilometers. You have to get it in max 10 kilometer range.
The lead cost will be higher.
Cost will be too high to manage that type of earthwork. Nowadays you talk about, if you're doing a greenfield, kilometer may need some 10 lakh or 20 lakh cubic meter of earthwork. So you have to get that, and the permissions thereof, they are so difficult to get those permissions sometimes. So while there is not a single window system, people have said that there will be a single window system which will be there, and you can go there and they will get the clearance, but that is still in the paper. So if that happens and the contractor's time doesn't go into all these type of licensing, but I see that is 30% technical and 70% licensing and stakeholder management work. This is what it is about the construction. So the major bottleneck is getting your raw material, and then your technical things, which a contractor or a consultant very well knows how to do that job. They only don't know how to manage those, because the stakeholders, others, you have to meet your collectors, you have to meet your mining engineer and all those things,
utility shifting
agencies. Otherwise, if you want to build a project properly, you need something like 6 months to understand the stakeholders there, their their issues, local issues, who is the MLA, who is the person in charge, who are the people you should go through. Then you know the real cost of the project, and those are the issues which really fail the project.
So how much do you think DPRs are useful for a contractor?
Since again the DPR has the same issue. I don't know how much time is given to them, and if they don't get time, really speaking, you're doing a 100-kilometer project, you need good 5-6 months for doing a real DPR.
True.
If you are doing in 1 month, 1.5 months, you just and the rates you get, and the कहते हैं ना जो जितना गुड़ डालोगे उतना ही मीठा होगा. So that is what it is all about. So वो नहीं होता है. Mostly you don't get that kind of DPR because we are seeing from our side, but if I see from the consultant side, maybe they will say, "Bhai, we are facing these issues. These are the issues faced by us. If you give all this, I'll give a very nice DPR."
True.
And then, if the DPR is so very good, and there are 15 people who are bidding, everyone has to do their own study. They can just check the DPR and save that amount of. If you are bidding 20 or 25, 30 projects in a year, maybe 50 projects in a year, because your strike rate would be only 10%. You want to get 4 or 5 projects. So you will be bidding around 50 projects. If the DPR are so very good, you need not put that much of effort into the
contract, in the execution.
In the bidding. At least in the execution, again you can recheck, confirm, all those things can happen. But a good DPR can really help everybody.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. After all, it's public money that's being used to build this infrastructure. So if DPRs are prepared nicely, then it's the public's money that gets saved. So while we are talking about consultants also, and the new age DPRs also that recently NHI has launched are coming up with a lot of new tools, and with the big word artificial intelligence. We hear about BIM being there. We hear about digital twin also now that's coming mainly in airports. Not in India, maybe that much. So how effective are these tools, do you think, for a contractor while he's executing a project?
It's a slow learning. People would learn it, but once they start adopting all those things. See, I am from the era when there were no batching plans. So you used to mix hand, concrete. Making a small bridge used to take 5 years. To now you can just do everything in a year. So people start adapting to this. So there will be time not too far away from today when people will be using BIM. They will be using 4, 5, 8, whatever, so that whatever you are doing here in your system and your machinery has installed that BIM. So the grader can actually give you that level. So that's
it's
the
a
thing.
Three-dimensional.
It's three-dimensional. Grader will give you straight what you want. You no need to give their levels and all that. And once the grader is also installed with the BIM, it will give you the levels.
So it is cost
rolling
saving,
will also. Yes, it will be ultimately cost effective. Only thing is you need to put your mind into it and adapt to it and see and actually believe that this will work. There are people who say no, AI is not good. This is there are people. And very close to me, they say no, this is not good and all that. I have seen people saying, but only one thing: AI is here to stay. And you cannot ignore it. You have to adapt to it. And people say that a lot of people job will go, this will happen, that will happen. But you have to upskill yourself to either make that AI or to use that AI. So I would say that you don't worry about what is happening. I always give example of 1930s. Then there was a Great Depression in US, all over world. And then they were, that every house used to have that piano. So that was the most expensive thing that used to be in any one house. So people used to, they said once their depression, there was no money, they started selling it. So there was no business for piano. So piano people went to the government, say that because of this we are losing job. What to do? So they said that this is not only about piano. You need to further enhance your skill and do something else. You cannot be stuck into this. Similarly, you need to upskill upskill
Even
yourself,
when
your skills.
computers came, I think
Yes, that
people
happened.
thought it will take away your jobs, but more jobs are being created.
More
In
jobs.
fact,
There's
yeah.
so many. Same way, there'll
Hmm.
be lots of jobs which will come from AI, and then
Yes.
there'll be a lot of people who can do
Hmm.
can become the entrepreneur because
Hmm,
of
hmm,
this.
hmm, hmm,
So
hmm.
that may happen.
So with so many things also happening in AI, infrastructure I feel is still behind when it comes to AI adoption. So where do you think AI can help in infra?
See, I don't know how it will help, but
Yeah.
I know few things about
Hmm.
when I was doing
Hmm.
tolling and all that.
Hmm,
In
hmm.
that, especially, I found that it can help a great thing.
It can
See,
automate everything.
it can automate everything,
Hmm.
and you see today you have to count everything.
Yeah.
So that is not required. Even AI can find out who has paid, who has not paid.
Yeah.
It can find the registration number
Hmm,
and
hmm,
give
hmm.
you a prompt. These
Yeah,
people
yeah,
have
yeah.
not paid. And that will be, if you are having a long stretch of 300, 400 kilometers, you have
Hmm.
4 or 5 plazas.
Hmm.
While the vehicle is coming, it will just tell everybody that
Hmm,
this
hmm,
vehicle is
hmm.
coming, this is what is not paid.
Hmm,
So
hmm,
even if he passes one plaza, he'll get caught in
hmm.
another
Hmm,
plaza.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
So that is one thing. And you can have the count, everything you can find out about
hmm.
that. You need not do anything.
Hmm, hmm,
So
hmm.
even if entire money which is generated over the day
Yes.
can automatically go to the banks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So not that everything is virtual money.
Hmm,
So
hmm, hmm.
you don't need.
So, a lot of contractors are actually getting scared when this ATMS and HTMS is being adopted. They actually don't want it, but it is very beneficial, like you
Yes,
said.
it is
Yeah,
beneficial
yeah,
and
yeah.
beneficial for
Hmm.
at large for the people.
Hmm, hmm, hmm,
And
hmm.
ultimately people who pay toll, they want that
Hmm.
I have paid toll, so I need a faster movement.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
they of course need those types. So there I have started working on AI there.
Hmm, hmm,
So
hmm.
so there are people who can work on cameras, and cameras can tell you, they can just
Yes.
report on. But it can also work help you in construction. They can
Hmm.
you can, there will be time when IoTs, you can have
Yes.
the things where you can find out the settlement, you can find the
Hmm.
settlement of the bridge, you can also find the
Yes.
moisture content on the earth.
Yes.
All those things will happen, and how it is consolidating,
Hmm,
how
hmm,
much
hmm.
time it takes.
Hmm, hmm,
It
hmm.
can tell you once it AI learns by itself
Yes.
lot of things,
Hmm.
then there is no stopping.
Yes, and so a lot of younger generation I think has more opportunities because they adapt technology more than the older generation I feel, and so a lot of opportunities are there in India itself. So people need not look outside the country for it.
Yes, yes. So,
Hmm.
see, civil engineering is very hard work.
Yes.
I don't think it's an easy job to stand and on a open sun and then work.
Hmm.
And if it is more machine generated, and you are, even if for the labor,
Hmm.
you have your JCBs, you have your rollers with the AC cabin.
Hmm. Hmm, hmm.
Earlier, first time we saw Volvo trucks with the AC cabin, I said, why drivers are getting no AC cabins. And we were not getting,
Yeah.
even a AC car.
Hmm.
So that also started many years back.
Hmm.
When this happens, so you'll find that things will become easier,
Yes.
it will be more productive,
Yes.
and once it is more AI based, I think lot younger generation will also get attracted.
Yes, yes, very true. So, moving on to our second segment where we talk about a trade off. While this infrastructure growth is happening, there is a big harm to the environment. That is what is the most discussed topic when it comes to India, also, because India's geography has everything: mountains, seas, wherever you go, Kashmir, Kanyakumari, or Bhuj to Kibitu in the east. So, with such large, diverse terrains, with such large environment, do you think that infrastructure, this big massive infrastructure development, will create a harm to the environment, or how a balance should be there in both?
Yeah, of course, there are some few things you need to give away to get
Hmm.
a better life. When you trying to reach a hilly region,
Hmm.
we just had our reunion of 40 years
Okay.
of college. Means few days back,
Ha, ha, ha.
5 6 days
Hmm,
back.
hmm,
And then we had a person from Nepal.
hmm.
He used to take 5 days to reach his home.
Hmm.
Because from 2 days of walking
Okay.
in that.
Okay.
Now think he can reach his home by road.
Yes.
So things are improved. So what? bargain, in the bargain of losing some trees and something, at least you are able to reach there. They have the school facility there. Now they have a hospital there. The doctors are reaching there. So this is the bargain.
Yeah.
So there were times I have seen people, they were not able to reach to a nearby city for medical help.
Yeah.
So now the last mile connection is so good. You can reach anywhere. Nobody thinks about, and everywhere you'll find a four-wheeler reaching there, ambulance reaching there. So if you are entering through a hilly region or some village which is in some remote places,
Yes.
through some jungles, and if you have a road like that, so there is some harm. But then you can always do certain plantations and other, you can add avenue plantation, which we do.
Yes.
And try to balance the two. But yes, there will be few things which will go
It's
in the
become
environment.
mandatory also, because as consultants also, we are asked to hire horticulture experts.
Yes.
In especially in DLP and maintenance projects, that whatever trees are being cut, that much trees have to be built
10 times.
Yeah, 10 times have to be built.
Yes.
So I think environment is being taken care while this massive infrastructure development is happening. But do you think all this is contributing to global warming or maybe the climate change?
So we are, unfortunately, we started developing much later. We, as compared to Germany or maybe France or maybe England, if you see their history, they were worse than us.
Yes.
Few years back.
Yes.
In 1940s and 30s, they were just struggling.
Yes.
But then they started building much faster than us. So nobody was asking that time global warming. Nobody knew about it. So they did everything.
They built their infrastructure.
They built their infrastructure. Now they are saying, no, this happens and that happens. Why can't we also have a better life?
Yes.
So as I said, there are few bargains, but then you get what you get. You should get. Then we have a lot of people living in remote areas, but they should get also a real life. It's not only about people living in Mumbai and Delhi to have the luxury life. They can have now. Of course, with the evolution of so many other things, they are having a better life.
Yes.
But I would say reaching by roads, last mile connectivity is very, very important.
When once roads come there, I think job opportunities are created.
Yes.
And so many things, like you said, schools, hospitals, all this is there, but roads are the basic necessity.
Yes, you need
that
to
needs
reach
to be
there.
Yes, very true. So coming to our third segment, where we talk about leadership and the future vision. You have led core infrastructure giants like IRB, Reliance, who have built such great infrastructure in the country, that name any road and I think you can see IRB everywhere. Reliance has also done some beautiful work. So what are the key leadership lessons that you have learned along the way, and what did it take for you to reach this level?
Yeah, I think this is something like how much persistent you are with what you want. Everybody is not born with silver spoon. So mostly you'll have to work hard for it. I believe that a doer, you won't be a great IQ person. Only in a school you'll find 5 to 6 students in a class who are doing very good. But then, or they are high IQ people. There are most of people who are in between. For in between people, the hard work is something which is very important. And you should not leave your focus. So if you are able to have that focus, that I want to achieve this, and I have my clear goal in my mind, I think you reach where you want to reach. And do whatever you do, and whatever resources you have, you start with that. Don't cry for resources.
कि ये नहीं है, वो
ये नहीं है, वो सब मत करो. और अगर आपका फोकस सही है, और if you are working hard for it, and you are continuously thinking, then you reach the position you want to reach. And then you achieve what you want to achieve. So मेरे हिसाब से you need to be very, very understanding about what you want to do. If you don't know that, if you are just coming blank minded, आया रोज का काम किया है चलेगा, you will not be noticed.
Very true. Very true. I think that's a beautiful insight that you gave, and people should really try to adapt it. It's difficult, but yeah, if you can maybe even improve 20% of your efficiency, it would be great. So there are longer working hours in India. People actually promote working 10 and 12 hours. कि जो
Oh.
आदमी overtime कर रहा है वही successful है. That's become the norm actually. But that I don't think that should be the case.
If you work 5 hours straight,
Yeah, but smartly.
smartly. So I also believe in this smart working. I don't
Hmm.
believe in I use that word गधा मजूरी. उसमें कुछ
Yes.
फायदा नहीं है.
Yes.
You need to know what's the best way to work. Only hard work में कर रहा हूँ, घिस रहा हूँ, इतना बड़ा फार्मूला लिख रहा हूँ. No. अभी if you are saying that I will do everything, where AI can give you in 1 minute,
Yeah.
use that. No.
Yes, yes, yes.
क्या बुराई है?
Efficiency.
So efficiency you increase
Mhm.
and you do the given work
Hmm.
in that much of time. I tell you my my example when I started working as a management trainee. So they told me you do one thing, you do the quality jobs. So that time entire company there will be one engineer. So there were not many engineers civil. So I started doing my quality testing and all that. And I got bored. I said, ये तो मैं कर ही रहा हूँ.
Yeah.
Give me some other work.
Okay.
So they gave me, okay, you go and do both the plant. Check the crusher, check the hot mix plant. Okay. So I started doing that. Even then I used to have much of time. I said, अभी ये कम है, मुझे और दे दो. So I kept on asking work and they kept on giving me work and happily did. I was at site. I didn't take a leave for 18 months.
Okay.
Single. Not a Sunday, not a Monday, not going anywhere. Remote area, 18-20 months I worked continuously. And see, that is the time when you're growing.
Yeah.
And people see this fellow is working. Maybe today's life it will say कि ये क्या पागलपन इतना काम क्या करना है. Today you have so many other avenues. We didn't have much avenue.
Yeah.
So I thought, keep on working. But what happened? I learned everything.
Yeah.
Not only I learned everything, and then you are ready for the next stage immediately.
Yes.
And that is what happened.
And now this big word, Vikasit Bharat 2047, where that's become the buzz all over India. And infrastructure is going to play a key major role in achieving that goal because it's the major contributor to the GDP or for that matter any country. So what insights can you give about the development that is happening and what the younger generation can see for the future where Vikasit Bharat 2047 dreams are being laid in front of them?
So first and foremost, I would say 21 years from today, there is a lot of job.
Yeah.
So you can see infrastructure coming up, in a big way. So 21 years you see yourself without any issues. So there are a lot of works which are coming.
Yes.
And they will keep on coming. It will be road, rail, bridge, metro, whatever. So you will find infra will grow, real estate will grow. You will make money in this, and if you understand it well, it will be actually really good for them to get into this field.
Yeah.
And understand. I say this is a very exciting field. Civil engineering is a very, very exciting field, and it makes you a complete person. Then it makes you understand because what happens, you go to remote areas and work. The roads are not everywhere.
Yes.
Bombay already have road, only you have to do resurvey. But you are making a new road, you are making green field. You meet so many people.
Yes.
You meet so many people, you will understand your country. We are a big country with a lot of people and a lot of minds. So we have 140 crore people
population,
and each person has a different mindset.
Yes.
You will understand that. So you will really understand how people think. If you're working, you're going to remote areas, talking to them, making them understand what you want, and giving them jobs and getting closer to them. So you work in Gujarat, you work in you're working in Infra, Manipur, you're working in somewhere in Naxalite area. But all those are people. And you can interact with them, you will understand. If you worked in these remote areas, you will become a complete person. I say that. So, and next 20 years, you should just close your eyes. There are a lot of work.
There's a lot of work happening. So I call it a golden era of infrastructure.
Yes.
Like you said, when you started working, there were 2-lane roads or maybe even single lane roads
Single
that were
lane.
there. Today's
2 lanes for
generation,
highway.
yeah. Today's generation, they're passing out and going into iconic projects like Delhi Mumbai Expressway, cable stayed bridges. These were not even heard, I think, in your 1940s or 50s. And the in fact, today's generation should be proud that they are getting to witness such huge infrastructure being developed, like the missing link project also that's
Yeah.
happening.
Yes,
It's one
yes.
of its kind in India.
Now the roads, elevated roads of 18
Hmm.
kilometers, 20 kilometers are
Hmm.
coming.
Hmm.
So, Seagull, they are doing 18,
Hmm.
the longest
Hmm.
elevated road.
Hmm.
So, these are big challenges
Hmm.
and it goes within the city. And once you have done those type of projects, you will feel that yes, you are there. These are the big, massive projects you are doing. Earlier, a simple small road is used. They used to call it a massive project. I was doing a road of 12 kilometers, and it was going to in the Rajasthan in the Thar desert. It was so difficult to do that time. So there was no way to approach. You have to walk all the way, and you get lost on those deserts. Now you are not going through that. So
Yeah.
so 12 kilometer is just anybody can do now.
Yeah.
But these massive projects, big tunnel projects, Zojila tunnel had come. So that is also so. Of course, under these circumstances, I think this is the right time for
Anyone to
individual
enter civil
enter into
engineering.
civil
Yeah.
engineering.
Great. So we come to our last segment where I call it the public wants to know segment, and these are the most googled questions by the public.
Oh.
And so public will get true insights from what actually happens behind the doors. So here's your first question: why do newly built roads in India start developing potholes so quickly?
I think the drainage.
Mm-hmm.
If the drainage is not taken care, either vertically or sideways, so it will happen. You'll find potholes coming. Second thing is the bigger story. You see the way projects are being built. They go so low,
Yeah.
and once they go low, they find answers within the material, and they don't use the right material. This may also happen.
So second, do toll plazas really shut down once the project is recovered, or it's just a myth?
Right. So it actually depends. What happens is if in any concession, uh, you know, the land is bought, and then there is a project cost, which is which is given by the concessionaire. So concessionaire covers its project cost and its interest part and whatever remaining future. So they say if I am doing for 20 years, so they will use it for 20 years, and the toll plaza should be finished. But the thing is, then the cost of the road is for the balance maintenance for it, and secondly, the land cost is not recovered. So if it's the green field, again, land cost has to be recovered. That has to be recovered by government, and the maintenance cost. So it may go for another 10-15 years. So once you are into that, you need around 25, 30, 40 years for a complete time. Then you can actually recover the cost. But then maintenance cost always will be there, from where the government will bring.
Yeah.
So as you see now, all the TUTs are coming. That's coming because they need the maintenance cost to be managed, and you have to keep that road in that level.
Yeah. So if people want to drive on good roads, they need to pay tolls.
Yes,
Yes.
that's all.
True. What is the single biggest reason infrastructure projects get delayed?
We discussed in earlier segments
Yeah.
also. It's about stakeholders.
Yes.
So if you are not knowing about the stakeholders, as I said last time, that 70% is your stakeholder game. So if you have not connected, you don't know the raw material coming from where, all those things, then it gets delayed. I don't give more than 5% for design, drawing, approval, change in scope, all those 5-7%. But the majority happens because of the missing raw material, or somebody has undercoated so much that he cannot perform.
Yeah.
These are two reasons, I would say.
Great. I think this was a beautiful conversation, Dr. Hoshing, and
Thank you.
I'm sure that our viewers must have got great insights on what actually happens behind the doors of those massive infrastructure projects. So before we let you go, I would like you to give one single message to the younger generation, or that one college student who's just passing out from his college and wants to enter the infrastructure field. What would you like to say?
I would say it's a great future. Not only we are saying it, you know, the 2047 vision, and we are also not talking 2055, where you will be the number one nation of the world. If you want to not only develop, but you want to be number one country of the world. So there's a lot of work which is going to happen. The really civil engineers will see the real boom from now on, and they have been seeing for quite some years.
Yes.
And they will see it further.
Yes.
So it's a time there, and the new minds, the Gen Zs and the whatever they are,
Alpha and
beta and all those. So they will find it very, very, you know, really challenging, and they will like the work.
Yes.
In civil engineering. So I think it's time to come to civil engineering.
Today's conversation reminds us that infrastructure is not just about roads, bridges, or airports. It is about decisions that quietly shape economic growth, connectivity, and the everyday lives of millions of citizens. And to everyone watching, if you enjoyed this conversation and want to hear directly from the leaders who are building the future of our nation, do subscribe to the Infra Dialogues, because every project has a story and every story has a decision that shapes tomorrow.